Shalom, Ani Yehuda ve'ani ish ve'ata isha.
Hello, I am Yehuda and I am a man and you are a woman.
All right, so this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to pay attention. Before we do, we have another good lesson today. If you've never been to the channel, definitely like, share, and subscribe. Ani Yehuda Hayora, meaning I am Judah the Shooter. Ladies and gentlemen, the last video I just did had a great dialogue with a discussion with a brother dealing with the topic of polygyny. Of course, you know he got cooked, just like everybody else does. Nothing different. He's not the first, and he's for sure is not the last. But nonetheless, it still was a great discussion, so I do still appreciate the brother for giving the opportunity to actually speak with him. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have another one. It seems like every 5 minutes we have a new anti-poly doctrine on the scene, so it looks like my work still is yet done. So before we get started, I won't reveal the person's name because she didn't direct this to me. It was a female. She didn't direct it to me, but she of course did lie, of course, on the Bible, and she shows her lack of understanding with dealing with the Hebrew language. So that being said, once again, like, share, and subscribe. Oh, one more thing before we get started, ladies and gentlemen. If you have never been to my channel, I do have 1 or 2 volumes that the second volume will come out. Is biblical polygyny a sin? That's the question that's being asked. You see how thick this book is, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Biblical polygyny is sin. If you get this book, it is a 2-week turnaround time. There will be a book 2, ladies and gents. So yeah, definitely go ahead and get your book. That being said, ladies and gents, once again, youtube.com/Judah the Shooter. Let's go back and share what the sister said. This is what she said up top. She says, Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 15 is not about multiple wives, but about the inheritance of a man's sons by 2 different women. She says the King James Version added the word wives. This is going to be real interesting today, ladies and gents. Which in the Hebrew is Nashin, is what she said. Then and we're going to talk about that too. But she said Strong's number 5389. However, the Hebrew, it didn't use Nashin, is what she's saying. She said it used the Strong's number 802. Remember that number is going to be important later. For woman, meaning singular, is what she's saying. She says Deuteronomy 21:15 in the Hebrew doesn't. Y'all see that? She said it doesn't say his wives, but 2 women, is what she's saying. 100. So here we're going to get the we're going to zoom in what she said here in the next slide. 1 second. Is it going to let me do it? Okay, here we go. Wait. Okay, there we go. Boom. Hold up, wait. Okay. Let me make sure I got it. Yeah, here we go. So she uses here 802, and she shows example in Numbers 31 and 18, not Deuteronomy 21:15. But she goes on to say Isha, woman, wife. The original word Isha, then it gives the part of speech, which is feminine, of course. Isha, of course. Definition, woman. It also means wife, of course. So that being said, we'll see what else she said. She now goes back to Deuteronomy 21:15, the verse that she's using there. And then up top, you see the word Nashin, and then you see under it the word Isha. So she's saying that Deuteronomy 21:15 is not about having more than 1 wife, but it's about 2 different women. And she's saying that her evidence is supported by H, which stands for Hebrew, and the numbers 802. And she used Numbers 31 and 18 also for her proof of claim, dealing with, you see up top, Numbers 31:18, her proof of claim, 802. Then she uses the book of Daniel 6:24, which has the Aramaic, Hebrew Aramaic, Nashin is what she was talking about there, or Nashin, if you will, which tell you short definition for the word wives, of course. So remember, she's saying this word Nashin, of course, it don't have that in this passage of, let me go back, Deuteronomy 21:15, even though, never mind, we'll wait. So before I mention it, but once again, she uses that. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I first want to go to the passage that she used as one of her evidence, Numbers 31 and 18, and as you see up top, Daniel 6 and 24. So let's go ahead and show that real quick. Numbers 31 and 18. 1 second, guys. Okay, cool. Numbers 31, verse 18. This verse here. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so we'll look here. It says here, the call ha-taf, all the children, by Nashim. So the word Nashim has the word women there, as we see there, right? And she shows the root word there, not the word that's in the text, but the root word, and that's something we're going to get the understanding on later. All right. So she uses this as her example. Notice it says women, and she shows the root word, which is the word Isha, which I will deal with later. But she also shows Daniel 6 and 24, which is here. And the king commanded that they brought the men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them in the dens of lions, their children and their wives, which obviously will be plural, of course. And well, we don't have to just deal with that. We'll just go ahead. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember she used Daniel. All right, Daniel chapter 6, and she uses verse 24. So check it, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Nashin, that's what she's talking about there, ladies and gentlemen. Nashin. Now, that being said, we have the word here, Benehon. Benehon. For children. Then we have the word Unshehon. Unshehon. And the wives. Once again, that root word there is Nashin. So we see it here. This is the inflected. This is the root word here. And that is her evidence, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's go back to her slide real quick before we address this. Remember, her argument is this. Matter of fact, let me show you the verse. Let me read the verse first real quick, ladies and gents. Then we'll go and slow roast this. Deuteronomy 21:15, it says, if a man have two wives, right there, it says one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh the sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is the other wife, which is indeed the firstborn. Here is the commandment, but he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by what? By giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength, the right of the firstborn is his. So, ladies and gentlemen, she's saying here, when it says if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, she's saying that there is talking about two different women, and it has nothing to do with multiple wives or having more than one woman. So let's go back to her quote real quick. Up top, you see here, she says, Deuteronomy 21:15. Let me zoom in on that up top. Deuteronomy 21:15 is not about multiple wives, but about the inheritance of a man's son by two different women. She says the King James added the word wives, is what she said, which in the Hebrew is Nashin, is what she said, a Nashin. Strong's number, she gives 589. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is not the Strong's number for that particular passage. But she says, however, the Hebrew didn't use Nashin. It uses the Strong number 802 for woe man. That's what she says. Deuteronomy 21:15 in the Hebrew doesn't say his wives. Well, first off, it didn't even say that in English. You know, so right there, that's already a straw man's argument anyway. But she says it says two women. Now, as you see over here in the right hand corner, she uses 802, and she uses Numbers 31 and 18, Daniel 6 going into the Hebrew Aramaic of Nashin, of course. Then she uses you see she's all over the place. She uses Deuteronomy 21:15, uses H 802, and we have Nashin versus Isha. Right here in the verse we see here Nashin, she highlights 802. let you know that this word here is singular, even though it tell you N, which is for a noun, and F is feminine, and it tell you the P stands for plural. Literally, right there. So she already cut herself and fell on the sword. But there's things you all need to know before we go ahead and dive into this and slow roast this, ladies and gents. So what I've done, ladies and gents, matter of fact, you really don't even need to see me, but nonetheless. Okay, so this is information, of course, we can all stumble across, and I want to make this simple to show her the error of her ways before going back to dealing with and addressing the mistake, the huge mistake that she made. So before we do, I want to show you something. Let me zoom in some more. It says Hebrew nouns function just like English nouns. They are used to indicate a person, place, thing, or idea. Like nouns in English, Hebrew nouns can be either singular or plural in number. Now remember, she's saying that in Deuteronomy 21:15, that noun for women, King James added the word wives, and she says that it is singular instead of plural. And she uses Hebrew 802, remember that. But it goes on to say, but unlike English nouns, they can also be dual in number, indicating plurality of two, i.e., two eyes. All right, that would be shatim enayim, or you could say enayim. All right, or two hands, yadayim. All right, yadayim, if you will. All right. Hebrew nouns also have gender. They are either masculine or feminine. Okay. It goes to say in English, most nouns are pluralized with the addition of an s or es. For example, when the noun prophet is pluralized, it becomes prophets. So in Hebrew, you know that as navi for prophet or navim, prophets. All right. It says the letter S was added to make the singular into plural. Hebrew nouns pluralize in much the same way. Different endings, meaning on the end of a word, guys, are added to the singular nouns in order to indicate the plural and dual forms. All right. In Hebrew, however, the plural ending for a masculine noun is different from the plural ending for a feminine noun. For example, im versus ot. But like avot, you hear the ot. Technically, the ot is feminine, but sometimes feminine words don't always mean that it's feminine in nature. Sometimes feminine words don't mean that it's always feminine in nature. For example, avot meaning fathers. Oat, like achot, sisters. You hear the oat in that, like oatmeal. You have im, like Elohim, God. But mayim, water. Im is water masculine? No, it doesn't mean that it's masculine in nature, because it takes the masculine ending. When you deal in Hebrew, cities are feminine, but it doesn't mean that it's feminine in nature. All right. So I want to keep this short, sweet, and simple as possible, because it's all going to make sense when we go back and look at the mistake that the sister made. Okay. So remember, this is going to be a slow roast. So we have here in Hebrew, however, the plural ending for a masculine noun is different from the plural ending for a feminine noun. The following noun chart illustrates how masculine and feminine nouns are pluralized. Plural and dual endings on masculine and feminine nouns. So we see here singular, plural, and dual. Singular words, plural words, dual words. So we have masculine noun, feminine noun. So we have the masculine noun of horse, sus. Sus. Then we have the plural form of horses. Susim. Susim. Then we have the dual form of horses. Susayim. Susayim. All right, so we have sus, horse, susim, horses, meaning more than one horse. Then we have susayim, which is dual, two horses. Now we move to the feminine nouns. Torah, law. Torot, laws. Torotaim, or Torotaim, technically Torotaim, which is two laws. Okay? Two laws. So we have singular words, plural words, and dual words. All right, they take the I don't know if you're able to see that. It's like a little minus sign right there, and like a little period right there. That's called a patach or a pathic yod. I'm a hirik yod mim ayim. That's dual. You see it again here. Ayim. Dual. Two laws, two horses. You see the feminine ot, laws, and the masculine plural, im. Torot, oat, as in oatmeal, laws. Susim, horses. Then you have the kamatz hay, which looks like a little plus sign, and the Hebrew letter hey, feminine. Torah, law. Then you have the singular sus. All right. So now we move on here. Gender and number. Hebrew nouns are masculine or feminine, though a few nouns are both masculine and feminine. With regard to a noun's number, it may be singular, indicating one, plural, indicating more than one, or dual. Remember, like two of them, indicating two. Oh, it says it right there. Sorry about that, guys. This is my first time going over this. It says masculine singular nouns are endingless. I mean, it has no end to it. Like literally, it can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. That is, they have no distinctive endings. The plural and dual masculine endings are very distinct and easy to identify. Masculine plural nouns usually end in im, as we just saw here. All right, we see masculine and we see the ending there. Im, as in susim, horses, or devarim. That's the word for like Deuteronomy, if you didn't know that. But it also means words, it can mean things, or it can mean matters. So, it says masculine, dual nouns in what? Patach, hirik, yod, mem, ayim. As in, it gives an example, susayim. Susayim, two horses. Or ayin, which we have I, but if you want to say two, if you want to say eyes, it's a neem, but if you want to say two eyes, it's this here, a naim. You hear the ayim. Ayim, 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 a naim, ayim, susayim, two laws, toratayim. You hear the ayim in that. Ot, torot, laws, torah, law, feminine. All right. So, im, as in mayim, or susim, horses, susayim, two horses. Now, let's move on. All is going to make sense in a second. Oh, this is small. Oh, wait. Here we go. Okay. So up top, we see masculine singular, masculine plural. We have sus, susayim. You've learned that. Horse, susayim, horses. Melech, king. Singular. Melachim, masculine plural. Kings. Davar, masculine singular for the word davar, word, thing. All right. To speak as well too. Devarim. Devarim, which is the masculine plural form, you're the im in that. Im. You hear that for words, things, matters. Now we're going back to singular. Yeled. 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 That's for a boy, child. Yeladim. Yeladim. That's the plural form of that. Children. All right. Yom. Yom. Day. Masculine singular. Yamim. Yamim. Days. You hear the im in that. Masculine. Susim. Melachim. Devarim. Yeladim. Yamim. Masculine plural. Now we move on to the feminine singular words. Melcha. That's the same word of melech. But Melcha is how to say queen. All right. If you want to say here, melachot. Melachot. Queens. All right. Torah. Torah. Singular. Feminine. Torot. Feminine plural. You hear the ot. You hear this here. Chumah. That is the word for wall. Feminine singular. Chomot. Chomot. Walls. Bat. Daughter. Singular. Banot. Ot. All these have ot in it. Banot. Daughters. Keshet. That is the word for like an archery. And then we have here keshatot. Keshatot, which is the word for archeries. You hear the ot in keshatot. Banot, you hear the ot. Chomot, you hear the ot. Torot, you hear the ot. Melachot, you hear the ot. Now we move on to masculine and feminine words, but these words are not feminine or singular. It is dual. Two of them. Remember earlier we deal with the word yom in the masculine singular. That was the word for day. This word here is yomayim, days. Toratayim, laws. Raglayim. I'm sorry, hold on, wait, I'm sorry. Yomayim, 2 days, I'm sorry. Toratayim, or Toratayim, 2 laws. Raglayim, 2 legs. Yadayim, 2 hands. Remember that earlier? Yadayim. Then we have here Einayim, 2 eyes. You hear ayim in all of those. Einayim, 2 eyes. Yadayim, 2 hands. Raglayim, 2 legs. Toratayim, 2 laws. Yomayim, 2 days. Okay? Now, this is very important. We see here lexical form. Remember that sister showed the first mistake. Remember in her presentation, you see lexicon. This is the lexical form. This is what she had. And then you saw here lexical. Remember, you see that? Keep this in mind. So let's see what it says about the lexical form of words. This is one of her biggest mistakes that she did not know. So lexical form, it says when in doubt with regard to a word's meaning or forming the form that it takes, the form of the word, all right, when it's inflected, when it gets changed, when you parse a word, when you break it down, when you strip the word down to its singular components, in other words, it says you will have to look it up in a Hebrew lexicon, aka dictionary. If anybody saw the debate that I did with the brother in the last video, he kept talking about a lexicon. I'm like, I don't need a lexicon, brother. I can read it. But when you look at the meaning of the form that it takes, pay attention. It says, when looking up a noun in the lexicon, you must search, watch this, for its lexical form. If you don't know what this means, guys, that's what I tell you. I don't need that because I know what it means. It says the lexical form for any noun, watch this, is the singular form. So guess what, guys? When you look a word up, you cannot find it in the plural form. You can only find these words in the singular form. I hope you caught that. Remember earlier we looked at devar, singular for word or things. The word devarim. You can't look devarim up in a damn lexicon, but you can find it only in the singular form. Dalet, vet, resh. The Hebrew letter dalet, the Hebrew letter vet, and Hebrew letter resh. You cannot find it in the plural form in the im there. All right, you see sus, samich, you have the sharuk, and you have the samich again. You see the same word there in the singular. You can't find it in this im in the plural form. It's what it's saying there, ladies and gentlemen. You see the word Torah, right? If you trying to look this word Torot up, the ot is feminine plural. You can't find Torot in a lexicon. You can only find it in its singular form. Let's go back. Lexical form again, it says, when in doubt, like when you doubting something, because the brother was like, lexicon, I don't need that. I don't doubt. I know what it says. It says, when in doubt with regard to a word's meaning or forming, the form that it takes on, you will have to look it up in a Hebrew lexicon, aka dictionary. When looking up a noun in the lexicon, in the lexical form, you must search for its lexical form. Watch this. The lexical form for any noun is what? The singular form. The singular form. So you can only look it up in what, guys? The singular form. For example, if you were to search for the definition of susim, horses, plural, as we see here, or the word susayim, two horses, look at what it says. You would have to look it up under what? Sus. Don't we see that right here? Under masculine singular? You would have to look it up in the masculine singular. So it says, for example, if you were to search the definition of the word susim, horses, or susayim, two horses, you would have to look it up what? Under horse. The masculine singular form. You can't look it up in any other form. Likewise, if you were to search for the feminine plural of Torot, laws, you would find it listed in what? Only in what? In its singular or lexical form of what? Torah. So you can see the word Torah, laws, in the Bible, but if you go pull it up in a lexicon, you won't see laws. You would see law. You can see two horses or horses in the Bible, but if you look it up in the lexicon like she did, you can only find it in the singular form, horse. So it says, in almost every instance, the lexical form of a noun will be the form you have memorized as vocabulary. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen, real quick. If you go back and look at her presentation, lexical, the lexical form of Nashin, guess what? It still means wives, but you can only look at it in its what? In its singular meaning, ladies and gentlemen. Look, let's go back. Watch this. Isha. Isha. Remember in Numbers 31 and 18, it had women there. It had women there. Originally, the word for women is Isha. Why? Because that is its original form. You can't look these lexicon or lexical forms up in the plural. You can't do it. That's what she don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. So when she highlighted woman or wife for Numbers 31 and 18, that's the definition of this word. But that is not the word in the actual Hebraic scripture. I hope this is sinking in, ladies and gentlemen. You all would go to a Strong's Concordance or go to a lexicon, and because you don't have understanding of the Hebraic thought, and you don't understand the rules of the language and the basics of Hebrew, you automatically assume, oh, that can't be that. And we're going to talk about woman and wife because I was trying to educate a brother on this in the last video. But before we do, remember, this was her presentation. The king, before I do, You see here that word, which we're going to deal with later, and it tell you wives here, and it tell you is a noun and it's feminine plural. I would just tell you nashim. If you've been paying attention, I told you earlier about the word im, hirik yod mem, or final mem, or mem sophit. The hirik yod mem is masculine plural, but remember I told you earlier, just because the word has a masculine plural ending don't mean that it is always masculine in nature. So you'll learn in Hebrew that basically every rule has an exception. I told you about avot. You hear the oat as in oatmeal. Avot is fathers, but is fathers feminine? No. Mayim, water, but is water masculine? No. Nashim, you hear the im, it's plural. If I say anashim, that can mean men or people. You hear the im in that. Anashim, men, nashim. You hear the nashim in that for men or people. Nashim, men or people. Nashim, women, wives, which we're going to deal with in a second. But because this woman don't understand Hebrew and she's only relying on the concordance, instead of understanding the rules of a language, she is misguided. So before we do, let's go back real quick. Before we go back and read her mistake. But we just seen here in the lexical form, you can't look the plural words up. You can only find it in its singular form. If you've been paying attention, ladies and gentlemen. So already with the sister, shots fired. So that being said, let's go here. Ooh, it is small there. Okay, it says, let me zoom in some more. It says Hebrew nouns have both gender and number. To gender, ladies and gentlemen. It has both. So Hebrew nouns have both gender and number. What does that mean? That means the gender can be masculine or feminine, but it also has a number, singular or plural. So it says, with regard to gender, a noun will either be masculine or feminine. Oh, it's right there. Sorry about that, guy. Rarely both. With regard to number, a noun will be singular, plural, or dual. Remember earlier for the word horse, sus, plural horses, susim, and dual, susayim. Remember earlier, Torah versus Torot versus Torathayim. Yes, you remember. Line 2. Now, look, guys, bear with me. It's my first time going over this. It says masculine singular nouns are endingless. Masculine plural nouns take the im, like nashim, anashim. All right. It says masculine dual nouns take the ayim. Remember that, as in susayim ending. That is the patach hirik yod mem. The most common, matter of fact, before we do, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, let me do something real quick. Let me show you. Here. Hold on, wait. Sorry about that. Okay, so Hebrew keyboard for you guys. I need you to pay attention. Now, earlier we have the masculine, masculine plural, which would be this one, hirik. It would be the letter yod and the final mem or the mem sophit. That says im, as in Elohim. All right, disregard that period right there. Okay, here we go. Then that like nashim or anashim, as I told you earlier, susim. All right, nashim, women or wives, if you will. And we're going to talk about that, but I'm waiting on purpose. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have the next one, which would be here, pathic or patach. Then we have the where we at? Hirik. Oh wait, skip a space. Sorry about that. Hirik. We have the letter yod, and we have the final mem. Ayim. That's for duality. All right, that's for duality. Susayim, 2 horses. Or Torathayim, 2 laws. Now we have what was I finna say? Oat. We have the cholam, vav, and we have the letter tav, ot. Remember we talked about that earlier? Avot, fathers, right? But remember, just because it has a feminine ending doesn't mean that it's feminine in nature. We could say achot, which is what? Sister. All right. So we have here masculine plural, dual, which could be masculine and feminine, and then we have the ot plural. Okay. So that is the long story short, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you get and understand what I'm showing you. All right. Now let's go back to the slide. Okay. When you look at the number 2, it says masculine singular nouns are endingless. Masculine plural nouns take the what? Hirik yod mem, as I just shown you earlier, just a few seconds ago, ending. Masculine dual nouns take the ayim ending. Number 3, the most common feminine singular endings is kamatz hey. Remember we showed the word Torah? But several other endings with tav, the letter. Here we go. But several other endings with tav. That's the letter tav. That's the letter. That's the kamatz and the letter hey. Also occur in these forms here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you have the patach tav, you have the segol tav, and you have the hirik yod tav and the sharuk tav. All right, don't even worry about that. You know what I'm saying? But those who know Hebrew know what I'm talking about there. Feminine singular nouns may also be endingless. Feminine plural nouns take the ot, you should learn earlier, ending. Feminine dual nouns take the ayim. So remember we learned about that ayim. So feminine can take it, masculine can take the ayim, or it can take the word tayim or tayim, like Torah tayim, 2 laws. Ending feminine singular nouns that end in what? Kamatz hey will not be identified as feminine in the vocabulary sections. That's talking about something else. Or the grammar lexicon. All right. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, oh, here it is right here. Look at this. First, we're just going to read it down. It says here, it says, endingless feminine nouns, all masculine singular nouns are endingless, but a few feminine singular nouns are also endingless. Examples: ear, like you touching your ear, that's the word for city. And then you have the word even. These are is known as a segolet noun because it takes 2 segos back to back under the Hebrew letters there, as I have there. Those are known as segolet nouns. But that's the word for even, which is a stone. It says exception to normal pluralization. That's exception to the rule. It says a few singular nouns of one gender take the plural endings of the other gender. For example, av, you know it's abba, father. It is masculine singular noun, but takes the feminine plural ending of ot. You see av, but then the ending takes avot instead of avim. Just like Nashin takes the masculine ending. All right. Fathers, special dual nouns. A few nouns are always dual in form, but usually singular in meaning. Mayim, there's the word for water. Water. But you all would take that as masculine, but it's dual in form, but get this, translated as water. Oh, there it is right there. Irregular stem change. A few nouns change their consonant stem when forming the plural. For example, look at this. Ish. That's the word for man. That's going to be important later, ladies and gentlemen. Becomes what? Anashin. Look, I was just telling y'all that. But look at the word. It says men in the plural. But this word can be men as well. I'm sorry, people. But notice you have the word nashim in that. Nashim. Anashim, men or people. Nashim, women or wives. We're going to talk about that later though. Defective spelling. Ot, the cholam tav, sometimes take the feminine plural ending of ot. All right, it says will be spelled with a cholam rather than a cholam wa or vav. It says, for example, this word here of edah, which is the congregation, is usually spelled what? Edot. Edot in the plural with the cholam rather than the cholam vav, or some would say wa. It says here for number 5, it says, most nouns undergo a change in vowel pattern with the addition of plural endings. Be certain that you learn the patterns of the noun pluralization or discussed in section 4.8. It says here, a Hebrew dictionary is called a lexicon. When looking up words, you must search for them by their what? Their lexical form. Meaning what? The lexical form of a Hebrew noun is the what? Singular form. Isn't that what the woman did? That's exactly what she did. Look, let's go back. Hold on, put my device on the charger real quick. 1 second, guys. Okay, here we go. Lexical. Look at this. Lexical or lexicon. Singular form. Right? But the text don't say that. It says Nashin. Literally. Ki teyehin. See that? Teyehin. I'm sorry, teyena. Sorry about that. Laish shite, which is in the dual form. Look at this right here. Number, feminine, dual, common. That's what the C stands for. All right. Nashim, and tell you that the word here is wives, or what you know is women, which we're going to deal with in a second. Noun, feminine, plural. Ha'achat, the word one. All right. Number is art, feminine, singular. All right. So that being said, remember, let me make sure I went through the whole slide real quick before we go and deal with the sister's big mistake. Okay. Matter of fact, this is the last one here. All right. The last one here. All right. So we have here in number 6, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want you to pay attention. It says irregular pluralization. Finally, there are numerous nouns that are irregular. All right. And unpredictable, meaning there's going to be sometimes you just not going to be able to know. And that's where the studying comes in at. It says in their pluralization, you're not going to know if it's plural or not. It says below are some of the most common examples. The plural forms must be memorized in the context of vocabulary. So on one side, we have the singular form of the words. And then on this side, we have the plural form of the words. So I'll read them from top to bottom. For man, woman, father, house, daughter, son, day. Man, ish. Woman, isha. City, ir, father, av. House, bayit. Or some would call it bite, known as a diphthong. There's another topic though. So some of the native speakers would say bite. They'll put it as one syllable instead of bayit or bayit. Or some will call it bayith. But anyway, daughter. Some will call it bath or bath or bat. Son, bane. You might hear some people say ben. You have day, yom. Now in the plural form, men, here, men, women, city, fathers, houses, daughter, son, sons, days. Men, anashim, women, nashim, cities, arim, fathers, avot. They go that oat, like oatmeal we went over earlier. Houses, batim, batim. Then we have the daughters, banot, sons, banim, days, yamim. All right. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and point out some of her mistakes before we deal with the passage, ladies and gentlemen. So, remember she said Deuteronomy 21:15 is not about multiple wives, but about the inheritance of a man's son by 2 different women, which were his wives. Like, yo, like this is insane. Yeah, 2 different women who were his wives. But she said the King James added the word wives. Now, she says, which is in Hebrew is Nashin. And she kind of made that mistake there because that she used Daniel 6:24, as you see right here. You see that? That word in Daniel 6 here, Nashin, is not the same as this here, Nashim. Why? Because we see this letter here, the final mem on the mem sophete, but we don't see it here. We see the final noon sophete. So this has a final noon. That's why you have the in there, and then you have the mem sophete, and that's why that has the letter M there. Nashim. So she already made that mistake there. All right. So she said it used the Strong's number 802 for woman. Now, she says Deuteronomy 21:15 in the Hebrew, she said it don't say his wives. Well, first off, the English don't either, but 2 women. So let's first deal with this part here of the 802. All right. You see the 802 right there? 802. All right. That being said, let's go here. Where we at? Share my screen. Deuteronomy 21. Remember, if a man have 2 wives, one beloved and another hated. So we have here, Ki Teyena Laish Shete Nashim Ha'achat Ahuva Ve Ha'achat Senu'ah. Coming down, we have Vayaldu Lo Vanim Ha'ahuva Vahas Nu'ah Vahaya Abain Hakur Las Ni'ah. So it says, if the word for have, if a man have shite, you see the word dual. Remember we learned about dual earlier, a dual construct. See that right there, dual. Then we have the word nashim. Remember she said 802 right there. That's what she's talking about. But she failed to let y'all know that. Remember we learned earlier about gender and number. That word nashim is the inflected word. That look, you see, look, let me make this screen bigger so you can see the word in the text. Because her argument was it don't have nashim in the text. You see the Hebrew letter nun, the Hebrew letter shin, the Hebrew letter yod, and the Hebrew letter mem. If you go to the text, you see the Hebrew letter nun, the Hebrew letter shin, the Hebrew letter the Hebrew letter yod, and the Hebrew letter mem, a final mem. You see that there. In her screenshot, you see you have the word nashim, but the root word, which you see here, ladies and gentlemen, where my highlighter is over there, that's the root word. So her argument is based off the root word. Remember earlier, when you look things up in this lexical form, you cannot look it up in the plural. You have to parse the word. Parsing is when you strip it down to its original form. That's why when it said the original, but she don't know that because she don't know Hebrew. She's trying to apply an English concept with an ancient Hebraic perspective. So the word is nashim. How do I know? Because look, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Nashim. That's in the text. The word that she's focused on is this word, the root word. And remember, she said 802. It tells you that the word there is wise. And we're going to deal with the word wise and women in a second. But when you look this word up, check it out.
Strong's H802. Isha.
So she's looking at this root word here in nashim. That is broken down in a singular form. Hopefully you understand that. And this word ish is broken down from this word. Isha, woman or wife, is broken down to this word, ish, which is for the man, or anosh, which is the word for people. A man, of course. Person, see that? So, enosh. So, ladies and gentlemen, notice here, before we point out all of her mistakes. So, ladies and gentlemen, you see 802. Remember her argument that is not about multiple wives. And she said because of the word, she said, look, let me show you what she said. Let's go back. Let's go back to her quote. She said, Deuteronomy 21:15 in the Hebrew don't say his wives, but 2 women. So in other words, she's basically saying it don't say wives, but 2 women. And that's not what it says. It's not what it says. And look, so check it. Let's go back. Here. Second. Okay. Notice we have Nashin. And again, Nashin. Right? You see those words match up perfectly. Perfectly. Now, here's a word for 2 women. Was Ezekiel 23:2? Okay. So it says, Bin Adam, Shetayim, Nashim, Banot Im, Achat, then the word for Hayu. Okay, so it says, son of man, 2 women, daughters. All right. Im, which is mother, Achat, 1, Hayu, they were. So this word here, Shetayim, notice here, is dual, right? Then we have this word Nashim. Nashim. Let's click on that word. Nashim. There were 2 women, right? It has the word Nashim, but you can't look the word Nashim up. It is inflected. Inflected means what? Something that is changed to the root word here.
Strong's H802. Isha. Isha.
This is the word that she's letting you all know. But notice, it tell you that the word in the text is actually Nashim. And that number is plural. It's plural. That's a plural word. Now look. No. Before we do, Leviticus 21, verse 10 real quick. I'm not 21, Leviticus 20. Sorry about Leviticus 20 and 10. Here, Va'ish asher yinath et ishet. So letting us know, and if a man which committed adultery or whoredom et ishet with the wife. This word ishet here. Let's click on that. It lets us know that's the word in the text, ishet. It says that this word here is singular, it's a singular construct. But look at it, it don't say ishet. I'm sorry, it says ishet, but I'm saying the root word don't say ishet. Look at what it says.
Strong's H802. Isha. Isha.
Instead of ishet. See that? So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the word Isha is singular here, but it's still 802. Remember, that was her argument. It's still 802. H mean Hebrew, 02. Let's go to Judges real quick. Judges chapter 8 and verse 30. Quick. It says, hold on, wait. I thought I had my device on the charger. Hold on 1 second. Check it out in English, guys. It says, and Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. For he had many wives. 4 wives, many. In other words, many wives. Ki Nashim Rabot. Nashim. Nashim. So look, the inflected letting us know that it was changed to Isha. That's what she's looking up. Because in the lexical form, you can only look it up there. But the word in the actual text is Nashim. And it said that this word here, Nashim, although it's still H02, which was her argument, that word is feminine, but that word is also plural, signifying that he had many wives. More than one wife. When you look at 1 Kings chapter 11, here it says, V'hamelech Shlomo Ahav Nashim. So it says here, and the King Solomon loved wives. But what kind of wives? Bikrio, strange wives. Nokre in the singular form. Look at this, Nokre.
Strong's H5237. Nochri. Nochri.
So we have Nokre. And notice it tell you here that this word here, Nikriot, was inflected. It was changed to the root word. But the word in the actual text is this, as you see there, here. And it said that that word is plural and it's feminine. But guess what number it is? For the, I'm sorry, not for that one. Sorry, but here for Nashin. That word is in the text, Nashim, Nashim. But guess what the word is? Plural and it's feminine. But this word here was inflected, meaning it was changed. It took on a different form. And that's the word that they looking up in the
Strong's H802. Isha. Isha.
So we have here V'hamelech Shlomo Ahav Nashim. So when King Solomon loved women, but the women who were what? Nikriot, strange, Rabot. So he loved many strange women, Ba'et, Bat, Paro, and what? Daughters of Pharaoh. Mo Aviot, Moabites. Ammoniot, Ammonites. Adomiot, Edomites. Zadniot, Zadonians. Hittiot, Hittites. Okay? So, but the word there is Nashim. And we know he had definitely more than one, because look, it says right here. Oh, yeah, here we go. It says, Vahilo, and he had Nashim, wives. Let's click that word real quick. Notice the word in the text there is what? It's common. The word is feminine, but it's also plural. But guess what? You don't see Nashim. What do you see?
Strong's H802. Isha.
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 Now, before we do, check this out real quick. I'm going to come right back here. Genesis 2, real quick. Genesis 2 and 24. It says, Al-Khin Ya'azav Ish. What you would know is therefore, Ya'azav Ish, shall a man leave, et Avi, his father, Va'et, and here, Imo, his mother, Vadavak, and cleave or unite, the Ishto, to his wife. The Hayu, Levasar Echad, and they shall be one body, or one meat, or what you know is one flesh. This word here, notice that this is the word in the text. You have the prefix, bait, as you see the prefix there, bait, and then you have the suffix for his, the suffix. All of this was inflected, it was changed, broken down to the singular form there. It's what they're doing. And that's what she don't understand. That when you look things up in the lexical or the dictionary form, it's going to give it, it's going to parse the word and give it to you in its lexical form. It's singular form, and that's what I was showing you earlier. All right? So you have here the preposition of the prefix. Now, that being said, this word here, Isha, well, why is it not playing?
Strong's H802. Isha.
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 So look, it says that Isha is feminine, right? And it gives two words there. It says irregular plural. Look at this. Irregular plural, you see the word Nashim. Right there, Nashim. See that? So we know that Nashim would be plural. Isha would be singular. So in Genesis, we see that word Isha or Ishat, that's used as singular. Look at what it says over here, singular. Now let's go back to what we went to earlier. Here, it lets us know, and he had wives, Sarots, for the word princesses, Sheba, Miot, 700. Ufilak Shim, and what? And concubines, Shalos, 3, Miot, 100. All right, let me get out of that. Here we go. Veya, 2, Nashad, and his wives turned away at Libo, his heart or his mind. But look, ladies and gentlemen, the word Nashim is there. It is inflected, meaning changed To what? Isha. Look, it tell you right here, Hebrew parsing when you breaking the word down. This is parsing or breaking down this word to the singular form. But she don't know that. But the word in the actual text is Nashin. And that word is common, and that word is feminine, and that word is plural. Nashin. But when you parse the word and when you break it down and put it into its lexical form, Nashin becomes Isha. So they took the plural form of the word and made it singular. But that is not the word in the actual text. You have to be careful with concordances if you don't understand Hebraic thought. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand that. So going back to Deuteronomy 21. Now remember Genesis 2, right? Real quick. Genesis 2:24. We seen the word here, wife. It was changed down to the singular form, but the word, Ishet, it tell you that it is feminine, but this word is singular. And it is HO2. But that word was in this text used as singular. When you go to Daniel 6:24, because she did use that. Daniel 6:24. All right. When you look at Daniel 6:24, right here, ladies and gentlemen, here, and their wives. This is the word that was inflected or broken down to Nashin. You can say Nishay or Nashim. Just like for son, you can say Ben. I'm sorry, sons, you can say Benay, or you can say Banim. Literally. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, coming back. So, let's click on it real quick.
Strong's H 5389. Nashin.
That there takes on the final noon. Remember, Daniel was written in Aramaic. All right. But look at what it tells you. It means wives. It means women. Aramaic. So notice in her presentation, she pulled the Aramaic word and tried to apply it to Deuteronomy 21:15, and was slick enough to go and take a word that had nothing to do with the Deuteronomy 21:15 at all. So notice that this word here, Nashin, is irregular, plural. It's irregular, and it's also feminine. Of this word, H06, Enosh. Remember earlier we looked at Enesh, from the word what we know as Enosh, which you see here, right there. Enosh.
Strong's H 582. Enosh.
So it's broken down to the word man, etc., mortal. And this word Enesh is broken down to man, human being, etc., Aramaic. See that? Corresponding to the man, Hebrew, man, Enosh. Going back to Deuteronomy 21. Let's go back and look at what she said real quick. Remember, her argument was here that Deuteronomy 21:15 doesn't say his wives. Well, we agree with that. The word his ain't there. So I don't even know why you even said that. But I get what she's trying to say. It don't imply more than one woman, because remember, she said Deuteronomy 21:15 is not about multiple wives. Well, first and foremost, the word multiple means revolt, which means excessive, exceeding anyway. So even from the Hebraic thought, yeah, it don't say multiple there. The word revolt was never even there. But is it more than one woman? Yes. Is it more than one woman? Yes. Is it more than one wife? Yes. Is it more than one wife? Yes. And that's what we finna deal with. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back and let's deal with this here. Deuteronomy 21:15. Once again, here. And if a man have two women, two wives, before we deal with the word women and wives, notice this word Nashim, once again, is in the text. The Hebrew letter Nun, the Hebrew letter Shin, the Hebrew letter Yod, and the Mem Sophit. Nun, Shin, Yod, Mem. Nun, you look over here, guys, up top. Nun, Shin, Yod, Mem. But here, The word was inflected, it was changed to Aleph, the Hebrew letter Shin, and the letter Hey. But in the text, in the word, this word here is this word, Nun, Shin, Yod, Mem Sofit. And that word here, which in the text is plural, not singular. The word that she's looking up in the lexical form is inflected, meaning it's changed, is broken down to the singular form. But it don't mean that that word is singular in the text. So this word here, Isha, is feminine. But look, it has this word here. Enosh, which we learned earlier, right? But notice, Isha is feminine, but irregular plural is Nashin, Nun. Let me make this bigger for y'all so y'all can see this. Nun, Shin, Yod, Mem, Nashin, used in the same wide sense. See that? So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She took the singular form of the lexical form of the word. Here, let me make it smaller. She took this word. That word is not in the Hebrew Bible. Y'all gotta be careful with that. That's why I tell you right here, it was inflected, it was changed, it took on another form. When they parsed the word, when they broke the word down. But that is not the word in the text. The word in the text, which you see here, the word in the text, which you see here, once again, the word in the text, which you see here, is feminine, and that word is plural, not singular. See that? It tell you that it's common, feminine, plural, and it's considered to be absolute. That word in Deuteronomy 21:15 is plural. Plural. So he has two wives. Two wives. Remember, when you go back and look at the presentation that you learned, Hebrew 101, ladies and gentlemen, she pulled the lexicon, the lexical form, was inflected the word Isha. But Isha wasn't in Deuteronomy 21:15. It's the word Nashin. Lexical form. The Aramaic, Nashin, which is what you know as Nashim from Aramaic. Notice here in Deuteronomy 20:15 in her presentation, this is the word in the text, and this is the word why it's being inflected. Nashim is in the original text. Isha is the lexical form of the word Nashim. But it tell you wives. But notice, she used this word, Isha. Isha doesn't mean wives. Isha means wife or woman, which I'm about to go and deal with last. But this is the word in the text, Nun, the Hebrew letter Shin, the Hebrew letter Yod, and the Hebrew letter Mem on the Mem Sofit. She was being slick, ladies and gentlemen. Remember earlier what you also learned. Once again, you learn about the lexical form of words. Remember we learned when in doubt, wait, here we go. The lexical form for any noun is the singular form. For example, if you were to search the definition of susim, which is horses, or susayim, two horses, what it say you got to do in the lexicon? You would have to look it up under the singular form of sus. And it said that word sus is the masculine singular form. Likewise, meaning just like. If you were to search for the feminine plural of Torot, which is laws, you would find it listed, meaning if you go in the lexicon, listed in its singular, aka lexical form, not Torot, but Torah. See that? It says in almost every, It says in almost every instance, the lexical form of a noun will be the form you would have memorized in a vocabulary. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you look down here, number 6, once again, it says right there, In case you forgot, it says a Hebrew dictionary is called a lexicon. That's the lexical form. When looking up words, you must search for them by their lexical form. It takes on a different form. It is inflected. The lexical form of a Hebrew noun is what? In the singular, not the plural, not the dual, but in the singular form. This is the reason why the sister showed you this in the lexical form. It's in the singular form. But the word in the text, notice it says here, it says Strong's, and you see she highlighted 802. The Hebrew text, Ki Tehena, Laish Shetei Nashin. So the word there is Nashim in the Hebrew text. In the English, you get wives. And look, and the rules of the language, it is a noun, it is feminine, and it is plural. That's what NFP stands for. Now here, let's go back to here. She said the King James added the word wives. That's what she said. They added wives, which is the Hebrew word Nashin. No, Nashin is in Daniel 6 and 24. That's Daniel 6 and 24, sweetheart. That's in Aramaic, as I showed you earlier. Nashin is not there, sweetheart. This word is Nashim with the M, the mem sophete, not noon as in afternoon. Nashin. So she made that mistake there, ladies and gentlemen. She said the King James added the word wives, in other words, which is the Hebrew, which is not, it's Hebrew Aramaic, and she gives 5389. No, 5389 is for Daniel 6 and 24. We don't see 5389 for Deuteronomy 21:15. Nice try though, sister. But she says, however, the Hebrew didn't use Nashin. Well, of course it didn't, because Nashin is only mentioned in Daniel because that there, what you got highlighted, is in Aramaic, as I just showed earlier. So, was not Daniel written in Aramaic? Come on, sister, get it together. So it says, it's used to, she's talking about Daniel, Deuteronomy 21:15. She said it used the Strong's number 802 for woman. Well, sister, you want to know why? Because when you look things up in its lexical or a dictionary form, you can't find it in its plural form. You only have to find it in its singular form, as you just got done seeing. That's the mistake that you made. Because you saw something in the singular form in the dictionary, what you did not know is that's not the word in the actual text. You were too busy focused on the Hebrew HO2, which inflected, Nashin was inflected to Isha, and it gave you the meaning of that word. But when you look that word up, it tell you irregular of what? Nashim, which is plural, which was the word in the text. Wives, women. Let's go back. I hope I'm making sense in this for anybody who is just not hearing this for the first time. So here she says, where we at? However, the Hebrew didn't use Nashin, yeah, because that's Aramaic and it's in Daniel. Nice try. It used the Strong's number 802, which it did, for Deuteronomy 21:15, which it did. And remember, I just shown you that the word 802 and Leviticus 20 and 10, Genesis 2:24, the word wife there was singular and it used HO2. But I also showed in Judges 8 and 30, 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 3, right? And Ezekiel 23 and 2, that word, the Strong's 802, it has the same word there. But in the text, it's the word Nashim. But in the singular form of the lexical form, it gave you the meaning of that word. That's what she's doing. But she put her foot in her mouth when she showed us this right here. People who can read Hebrew know we have the Hirik Yod Mem. Remember I told y'all this earlier? Let me go back to sharing. Remember this earlier? I showed you this earlier. Hirik Yod Mem. Remember that? And I told you that was masculine, plural. But I also said that just because it's masculine in gender doesn't mean it is masculine in nature. And we just read in the slides how sometimes it can take on both forms, but it is plural. Mayim has the im in it, but it's dual. Some of you would call that masculine, but it's because it has a masculine ending, but it's dual. Anashim. Look. Remember this earlier? Shalom ani Yehuda, meaning I am Judah, ve'ani, and I am ish, a man. Ve'ata, and you are isha, a woman. So look, let's deal with it. Isha ve'nashim.
Women and women.
Woman and women. Ish ve'anashim.
Man and people.
There go the word anashim. Remember I told you it could also mean people. Ish, let's take off that. Let's take off the word and now we have people. But look down here, it also means men. See that down there? Men, people, or folks. Right? But check this out. Isha.
A woman.
But watch this. Wife. That's the same word, Isha, right there. But look at this. Woman. That's the same word, Isha, right there. Let's look at the word for man. Ish.
Man.
But watch this. Man, that has the word Adam, but we can also have here. Ish. Same thing. Adam.
Person.
It can also mean person. Ish.
Man.
Nashim.
Women.
Anashim.
People.
Nashin the anashim.
Women and people.
Notice you hear the word im in that. So anashim.
People.
Now let's take the aleph off. Now look at what it says. Women. See that? Now I'm going somewhere with this. I just shown you the word women. Anashim.
People.
Or men. I showed you Isha.
A woman.
Ishet.
Wife.
See that? Or you can say Isha.
A woman.
So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Let me show you something real quick. Let me explain something to you. You have Hebrew, which is not the same as English. Obviously. You saw the woman use the lexical form and try to be slick as if that word Isha was in the actual text. And the word there was Nashim, women. She tried to be slick and go to Daniel 6:24 and use the Aramaic Nashin as if that had any relevance. She used Numbers 31 and 18, which had the word women, which has the word Nashim in it. Matter of fact, look, I do need to show that too. Remember her argument. Numbers 31 and 18. Remember that? Numbers 31. Go down to 18. But all the women, remember that? Look at the word here. Ba, which is the prefix of that word. And you have the word Nashim. So notice this word by Nashim is inflected down to the singular form. But the word in the text there is Nashim. Nashim.
Women.
Nashim is the word there. But the lexical form has this word Isha.
Strong's H802. Isha. Isha.
Isha.
A woman.
That's singular. Nashim.
Women.
So now we know that Nashim is plural, but when it's inflected down to the lexical form, it is singular. But in the text, it has Nashim. That's why when you scroll down here, sorry about that, Nashim is there, the lexical form is there. This is the word, that is the inflected word there. This word is in the text, this word is what she looked up. Deuteronomy 21:15.
Strong's H802. Isha.
Isha. Isha.
A woman.
Nashim.
Women.
So here, Isha is the word, but Nashim is the word in the actual text, which means women or wives. Because what you don't know, when you say wife or woman, it's synonymous, and you have to understand the context when you're reading something. When you say Anashim, you're saying people, folks, men. When you say Nashim, you're saying women, wives. So your wife is your woman, and your woman is your wife. Literally. Their words are synonymous. Check it out. Look here. Boom. Boom. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you all are following along. If you are one who teaches, oh, well, you know, Deuteronomy 21:15 ain't talking about no multiple wives. What does this say here? Habisora hakidosha alpi matai pereche. What does that say? Huh? Habisora hakidosha alpi matai perek he. Habisora hakidosha alpi matai perek he.
The Holy Gospel according to Matthew chapter 5.
That's what we're reading right there, ladies and gentlemen. This right here. Matthew chapter 5 is what we're reading. All right. So it says, Shematim ki ne emar la rishanim. So in other words, for was said of them, it was said in old times, Rishon, has what Rishon mean the first. So it was said back in the ancient times, in other words, lo tenaf, you should not commit whoredom or adultery. But ani omer, and I say on, excuse me, lachem unto you, call hamis takel. Every one of you who looks the isha on a wife, lachmod ota, on a wife to covet her, on a wife to covet her. What does it say that they do? Na'of, na'afa, belibo, have committed adultery in his mind. So in other words, it says here, and I say unto every one of you who looks on a wife to covet her, have committed adultery in his mind. This is the understanding from the Hebraic thought. The word Isha there means wife. This is what Christ is speaking about when he's telling us that if you so much as look at another man's wife to covet her, then you're committing adultery. Now, what most people don't know, this word Isha, because your King James version has this, has the Greek word gune here. So here,
Strong's G 1135. Gune.
that's what you get the word jani from, as in polygyny. Poly, plural, multiple, many, abundant. Hebrew word rabot or ravot. The Greek word palos, if you will. But you have this here. It tell you that word gune, which has the Hebrew word isha, is a woman, but it means a wife. But today we have the word wife being used, but technically to say wife would be woman. To say woman would be wife. But if you're looking at it from the English perspective, you can't differentiate, well, hold on, is that woman a wife? Is the wife a woman? Because you don't know Hebrew, you don't understand that. So to give a sense of what's being said, we have the word wife there. This is the same example. It was something else I wanted to show. Technically, we don't have a word for wife. So the word there is Isha. That's what you know is wife. Today, ladies and gentlemen, English and Hebrew is not the same. Stop trying to apply an English concept with the Hebraic thought and not understanding how to use a James Strong's Concordance, which is based off a biblical thought, a Hebraic thought, a Hebraic concept. So, ladies and gentlemen, Deuteronomy 21:15. When you look here, say, and if a man have 2 wives, that's the word there. Nashin is there. She gave you the word Isha in 802. But we saw that 802 was also in Judges 8 and 30 for wives. It was also in Genesis 2:24 as in a singular form. But in Judges 8:30 it was plural, HO2. 802. So I showed you in multiple spots like 1 Kings 11:1-3. The word wives was used there, has the same HO2, H802. It can be used in a singular and in a plural. The only way to know is, if you don't know Hebrew, is to go here. Plural. Tell you right here, plural. Nashim. If you're looking in Genesis 2:24, once again, the word here, same HO2, is used in plural? No, singular. But if you go to Judges, once again, 8 and 30, that same Hebrew word that is being parsed, Nashim, is mentioned there. 802, this is the word she's looking at, and not realizing this is the word in the text, and not realizing that that word can also be plural. Plural. I hope you all are understanding this. I am making it clear as crystal clear. So Deuteronomy 21:15 is talking about a man who has more than one wife. The sister don't know Hebrew, and she don't understand when you look things up in a lexical form. That word nashim right there, this is in the lexical form, it breaks down to this word up top, Isha. But it tell you right here, even in her presentation, ask her what the NFP stands for this word in HO2. Ask her what that stands for. She better say the N stands for now. She better say that the F, as in Frank, stands for feminine. And she better say the P, as in peaches, is plural. NFP. NFP. Look. Deuteronomy 21, verse 15. NFP. Let's go to Nashim. N for now. F, feminine. P, plural. So she fell on her own sword with the very thing that she posted. This is the long story short, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video in any way, shape, form, or fashion, I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker. Much better writer than I am a speaker. You get book 1 and book 2 of Is Biblical Polygyny a Sin? At propolybook.com. Propoly, because I am propoly, book, because it is a book.com. Propolybook.com. It is a 14 to 60 day turnaround time. 14 to 16 day turnaround time. If you can't afford the book, you can make payments and get the book up front on my website, Afterpay. If it's a group of y'all that want these books, the more the merrier. Meaning, you can come together, y'all can put y'all money together, and you can get a discount price. Or you can get multiple people together and y'all can win all of my books, because I have 4, but I've published 3 so far. But you can win all of my books, and if y'all got at least, I'm gonna say about 40, 45 bucks if y'all come together. Well, it depends on how many y'all it is. I could throw it down to 35. It just depends on how many of it is. You got to be at least 7, honestly. But coming together, you can win a raffle. We can do the raffle online, and you can win. All right, a raffle. Wheel of names right here. So let's say if we have Tom, Chris, Joe, and Kevin, if you will, right? Then we go ahead and we spin it, right? You can see it right here live and be like, yo, guess who won? You have who? Chris. You know what I'm saying? So Chris, you can either Chris can either take all of the books. B, Chris can say, hey, spin again. Or B, I'll donate a book to somebody. Or C, like literally we can spice the rules up and you can win these books for free or at a huge discount price. So ladies and gentlemen, it's propolybook.com. Let's see, going back here, like, share, and subscribe. youtube.com/Judah the Shooter. They call me Judah the Shooter because I shoot out scripts, I shoot out information, and I'm a straight shooter, and I will not cut no corners, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I need Yehuda Hayorah Lehitriot Vishalom.
I'm not the last wife, I'm the first wife. I'm not the last wife, I'm the second wife. I'm not the last wife, I'm the third wife. I'm not the last wife, I'm the fourth wife. I'm not the last wife, I'm the fifth wife. I'm the last wife, and this is our king, and this is our husband. Yay!
And this is the house of Judah.
My wives have been amazing. Religion is how we're living. All of them get my back. All of them submissive. They're all about sisterhood and family. Our family number's 244. And they won't be jealous if I get another wife. Together everyone achieves more. Matter of fact, she said she feels